What's good YouTube, and welcome to the house. The competition day one for Ghost from the Past is really heating up, and it's awesome if you're in the market for singles. Both the Ghost and the singles inside falling in prices. People rip this open by the caseload or go and take all the displays off Walmart. I've seen funny pictures. I beat all the scalpers to Walmart. Yeah, and you also made it so nobody else could get any. Congratulations on your moral victory post on, oh, but I'm opening them for me. Congratulations. All points aside, there's some quality control issues with the Ghost rares themselves. Dark Magician, a lot of them look like shrapnel have freaking hit the back of the Dark Magician, and that's kind of wild. People touting near mint copies all over. Do take that under a light before you sell it and look for the indents. It's kind of crazy, but the fronts of a lot of the Ghosts are clean. And when we're looking at Dark Magician, actually there were 10 copies pretty recently, so it seems like somebody is actually going after the copies. Only 2 at 650 left besides light plays from honest sellers. We have one near mint here though, under 600, and then it goes up to freaking 800. A lot of people don't want to list this one. It's the one they're after day one. Blue Eyes Alternative has the most copies on market. I wonder if it's overprinted actually as the cover card and the rest are equal ratio, because a lot of them are low in listings. Firewall is catching up though. It has ink blotting under that Ghost mirrored on a lot of the copies I've seen. That's a pretty common thing. One looked really awesome. There was a circle in his mouth like he's about to fire off a beam. That one was awesome, but then others just seem to have it kind of in random places, not a circle, different kind of blotting under there. And I did see one Dark Magician with ink blotting within the, not effect, I guess flavor text box for him. I do think some of these will fall towards 200 like Firewall and Crystal Wing, and while that's a price that people were hoping, oh, I hope it's one per display when Konami said it's really rare, and it ended up under one per case about, with some cases being duds with zeros, other having 1, 2, even 3. I got shown a case with freaking 5 after 3 cases with 0. Just insane stuff happening with this set and the pull rates. People getting mad lucky due to clumping and otherwise. I think that clumping will help the sealed displays a lot though. With the clumping, I do think first edition displays are something good to keep sealed. If I wasn't given some by a sponsor, I would personally be keeping them sealed as an investment if I were still vending today. Now for the singles, Remus headed down towards 25. Somebody just listed a lot of things that has shipping attached, although that is 23, so that's pretty awesome. People really want to offset the cost of what they're spending on this set, especially since they could have got more sealed, since it went double MSRP and got hype beasted early. Evenly matched falling down towards $15 is nice to see. I know a lot of people hoped for that price point, although it would have been nicer to be in a structure deck, right? That would have been pretty cool, or to get the Dragoonity structure. My soreness aside, Red Supernova down towards 10. A lot of people after the Shadol and Time Thief stuff, they seem to be eating up the mid-range value for money back on a pack, along with the imported XCs and Synchros such as Cypher X or Red Supernova, and then the good reprints, the Herratic Seal, which Dragon Link players need, Fogblade, which wasn't a structure deck to be fair at one point, and then Emergency Teleport around 3 also, but a 1-of versus a 3-of versus more of a 1-of, and I do think the selection stuff is okay. A lot of people just want to try Sunvine for funds. If you're more of a casual, this set does have a lot to offer, and there are some good competitive reprints, just no high-end chase like Lightning Storm. It's very odd how this turned out for a March reprint set. I still think keeping it sealed is the right call, and we'll go in depth on sealed investments on today's Market Watch. Now, speaking of things I wouldn't want to pay for on the secondary market, Amanda LaPalm's art is only available for these two products until April 25th midnight. The Silent Mommy Field Center starting at just $25 for a metal Field Center, good quality, and you can add packs of sleeves of her as well. Use code WhatsGood5 for 5% off and to support the channel. I personally will be getting one of these and keeping it. And then I've never wanted to be attacked by BLS so bad or have Chaos Emperor Dragon blow up on me. This Metal Field Center as well ends April 25th midnight. So you want to be getting on these and not paying secondary market prices such as her crazy Akiza stuff, $175. Deck boxes that were $100 with a playmat going $250 by themselves and $200 sold for the playmat, not even best offer. And then combos of it that you paid $100 for the deck box and playmat going at $300 best offer accepted, probably got something like $280. People barraged me for mine on Facebook. I hooked up a friend and somebody else who hit me up who was a fan, but Dude, it is crazy what her stuff goes for on the secondary market. Just get it direct from her site while it's still there and support the channel with that promo code. Now let's talk sealed products and what I think about upcoming ones, because I've been asked so much for a sealed only market watch. Weird enough, but people really want to know what I think about sealed and where it's going to progress. So I want to give this disclaimer: A, not a financial advisor. B, I think that you should only be getting into sealed for these following reasons. You're so rich your bankroll can no longer flip itself, and you want to invest in Yu-Gi-Oh related things since you enjoy it personally over something more traditional or crypto or vintage singles, even because you want something nice that's there, tangible, big, has that RNG factor. If those are your reasons, go for sealed. Maybe you're too busy with work or other things to flip your money on itself, like deal with singles and that sort of stuff, and you want to let a product sit there instead of actively flipping it. I still think vintage singles could be good there overall, but that market is crazier than sealed in some aspects, so I would get wanting to do that as well. Or the third reason would, you think the estimated value pulled of a sealed product upcoming will far surpass its original early bird or retail prices on the product, making the sealed itself go up later and maybe good to either pack for yourself early on or sell later. Those are the three reasons I think you should consider sealed in general. Any other reason, you're kind of fooling yourself. You could be spending your money smarter. And the pros of sealed and keeping sealed is it rarely falls in price and often goes up, although vendors definitely felt the burn early this year. You know, Genesis Impact, Blazing Dumpster Fire, just a lot of the pseudo vendors got out of the business because of how bad it got for them. Also, certain lines of sets create trends. Battles of Legend, Gold series, we can kind of see the past and see where it goes, but you still want to pay attention to the singles inside and the advertising and how it's going to go, rather than blindly going into a successful line of product. The cons of sealed are shipping rates versus singles and fees, since it almost gets greater, like it's a huge amount to sell a sealed case, right? You're going to get feed a pretty big physical amount, and then shipping is not going to be as cheap as it would be with singles, especially if you're insuring it and that kind of stuff and making sure you're safe, because the average investor can't take a loss on something that's gone up and then they're trying to get their bankroll back. So that being said, I think Lightning Overdrive is an upcoming core set. You're better off buying the singles personally. If you are going in on any of these sites I'm about to show with their early bird specials, they are the cheapest around I've seen. You can use code TheWhat'sGood5 for 5% off and support the channel on Black Market and Gamer's Choice. And I just think that with the singles in here, this feels an awful lot like Chaos Impact, but even when I say that and it had a special edition, the boxes for that have gone up over time thanks to Masquerena, but it just feels like there's very few things people are chasing after over here, and they're specific, like Diviner. We still don't know rarities, and this core set versus the upcoming Dawn of Majesty and other things, it doesn't feel like what I'd be putting my money for in a box. And even if they announce a super hype chase Starlight, remember, when you're case diving, it's a Starlight per every 2 cases, meaning for a specific Starlight, since there's 5 different ones per set typically, well, you're going to end up going for 10 cases to get the EVP, estimated value pulled, of that chase Starlight to being within there, and you're still risking it. You're still gambling even then. So I think with this and the set description, how it's turned up, there are decent cards inside, but it reminds me a bit of Chaos Impact. That's not necessarily a bad thing in modern Yu-Gi-Oh, but think of how long versus sinking your money into early for a set, you waiting for the set to get there, then sitting on the set, waiting for it to rise in value, and how Chaos Impact's done for itself. That's not a very good rate of return, is it? Now, King's Court, I have a pretty good feeling about. Konami has really hyped this up on their site and description on what the collector rares can be, comparing things to Magician Souls, but more importantly, it's in Toon Chaos's slot. So if you're going in, there's very cheap cases over on the YBM, and if you're the smaller guy, you just want a couple of boxes, well, here's $60 ones. Remember, it's usually about 4 collector rares per case historically in collector rare sets so far, and they are really hyping it up with this description, which is why I do have a good feeling. And it's not a typical deck building set. It is a world premiere set where we get things for the first time, and then Konami USA also has choices and more implications on what could be collector rare inside. I still think you're gambling, but I personally like this one a lot. And when we were talking Toon Chaos, I don't think it's Toon Chaos 2.0. A lot of people are trying to say that. I think that it will perform pretty well, but I don't think it's... This introduced the rarity to us, and it had some very choice things, and then Toons are kind of stonks for the casual community. This is not Toon Chaos. It's Yugi's poker cards reimagined, not Toons, but I still think it will do pretty well for itself. Legendary Duelist Synchro Storm is pretty good for the singles so far between the Plants and the Leerlusk. We haven't seen the Speedroids yet. It has a guaranteed ghost rare, very cheap cases over on Gamer's Choice, ending up being 40 some odd dollars per box, one of the best you'll get, and you see that it has a ghost rare inside. Rage of Ra is the worst legendary duelist in the line in terms of pricing, and even then it has recovered itself thanks to the ghost rare Ra being the chase. You can see the singles inside, not that good, and when you go for this product, you mostly want cases, because the average was 9 out of every 10 cases had a ghost rare, and if you bust it open, get that ghost rare, people are slinging those single boxes afterwards, and it creates this kind of weird feeling of, oh, the ghost has already been pulled, I don't want a single box of this, I would rather know that a case is there. So one advantage to going in on a case is, like, say you're in a Facebook group, I have a sealed case, who wants to go in and split on this for how many boxes? I will open this up on video and show me putting them into the packages. You can create unique deals like that. It's a lot more work, isn't it, for somebody who's lazy or has a huge bankroll? That's more for the grinder, but I do think that this is turning out pretty well for itself. Remember, Legendary Duelist as a advertising campaign ended in the OCG. It's back to Duelist Pack, so the USA is more so slash TCG keeping this name for the set, and it's not truly that in the OCG. We're more so slinging Duelist Packs again that do have Chase Lotto cards inside, but I like the cards inside the Synchro Storm. Yu-Gi-Oh! Dawn of Majesty is the first core set I'm excited for in a long time. At $650, you're getting a pretty good price per box on early bird specials, and over on YBM they have single boxes for the cheaper person going in that can't necessarily afford those huge cases, or they just want to have a box or two because they think this will be really cool because of the Stardust stuff. I think the singles inside, like the Instant Fusion, are really good, and for this, I do think that with special editions still not having appeared in any way, shape, or form, your Racing versus Megatons, this is the third set that will be in the 2022 Megatons. Do keep that clock in mind versus flipping the sealed. And also, another thing to keep in mind with sealed is, as the prices go up, as time goes up, the demand goes down, meaning you either need to create a deal versus those prices to create an incentive to sell faster, or you're going to be waiting some time, sometimes, depending on what buyers are in the market. But with this core set, I really do like it. It's the first one that at this price makes me considered, well, versus singles and how many things you could want inside, it might be worth it. Do remember, under the newer ratio since Eternity Code, you can no longer pull a playset of every single secret rare, but so far no secret rares have been shorted, so you do have an equal chance, but it's like 2.4 per secret rare because, you know, there's 10 different secret rares, you get 24 boxes, you have 2 secret rares per box, the math's just there. But within the cases, I do think that you want to keep in mind what you can pull versus what's there, and the singles may still be worth it during some point. And if you are after singles, use that TCG player link .sellout to support the channel. Megatons, I like at the early bird prices because we've seen multiple other 10s go up. I don't want to pull the Nobleman of Cross Out Designator crazy, oh, it's going to be this set, that set, this set, because it could be. You know, it could be over in King's Court. It could be in whatever Animation Chronicles / the Battles of Legends slot could be. It could be in a gold series. Crossout Designator could be anywhere, but if they follow last year's sales procedures, they need something like Dragoon within the 10s to help the 10s turn out well long-term, and even then, Dragoon didn't start out in the metagame. Remember how the 10s sat there and stagnated, people panicked? That's another thing with Sealed. You need kind of an iron gut. Oh, it's not starting out well. Rage of Ra didn't start out well. The 2020 Megatons didn't start out well, and Megatons have been getting crazier. Also remember, look how little this set description has besides what could be inside. The sets inside have been updated on the official Konami site. You have Ignition Assault, Eternity Code, Rise of the Duels, Phantom Rage, and more. That's exciting. That and more will create filler versus the chase cards. And People like to speculate on what chase cards could or could not be missing, and Konami can do whatever they want. So you are still gambling even at the lower prices, but I think they'll turn out pretty good personally. And when you start playing that game of, oh, this could be missing, that could be missing, we'll get into that in a second. But look at the sealed cases of 2020 10s. They've gone up. Even a $420 case has been sold, and they're double MSRP over here versus you getting in under MSRP. And then 2019 10s are basically triple in price, but that's thanks to something Konami's forgotten to put in product for a while: promos. The promos help sell this set, and definitely way better than a lot of other sets because they were amazing and crafted for this. With these 10s, you will get some world premiere cards that you'll chase after in the set related to Dark Magician and Blue Eyes. We'll see what other surprises wait us. If they'll make a lottery card for the 10s, I seriously doubt that with the holo upgrades on a lot of cards selling the 10s themselves, and they'll probably use that strategy elsewhere. But I do think at $170, you're not the worst actually busting for singles either. But remember, ultra rares like Dragoon, that was 1.44 average per case. A lot of people getting cases without them just on the math of the pull rate of Dragoon. Now, playing, could Droplet be missing from the Mega 10s? It's ultimate rare in OTS. Oh, remember Levy in there? It was ultimate in OTS, and then it got reprinted in the ground later. That part aside, Thunder Dragon Colossus was ultimate for OTS, still got in the mega packs. Whenever we're looking at the 2020 10s, we all tried to theorize, oh, Pot of Extravagance is in Toon Chaos, it's gonna miss. Oh, they're not gonna do this in a higher rarity, it'll be lower rarity because they want it to compete with the Starlight. Oh, they're gonna probably troll us on Borderlord Savage Dragon again, some people said. Boo! And then Apollosa was in Gold Series already announced, people thought it might miss the 10s. Yet this 10 had the kitchen sink and more. So the lower part of it was pretty good. It's just the sets inside, Chaos Impact, they weren't the best. And there were a lot of reprints that already happened ahead of time, such as Phantasme and Signet Mining and Dual Overload, so they were reprints by this time. Konami's taking a different approach towards this year's 10s. We didn't get reprints within the Ghosts from the Past leading up, although we still are open to having a slot for Animation Chronicles somewhere in July, maybe ahead of the 10s. We'll have to wait and see what they do with that, and if we'll get Gold Series at all this year after how successful it was last year. Speaking of Gold Series, that is one that I actually show the history of sets going in. That is Maximum Gold specifically, going off the cuff here. I really enjoy talking sealed, and I don't mind doing it, but Maximum Gold has gone way up versus the early bird specials you could have got in at. The singular packs are around, actually I believe this is MSRP though, and the singles inside have done well for themselves since a lot of them haven't been reprinted yet. I think the sealed will only continue to do pretty well for itself unless there's an unlimited wave, and people will still want that first edition stamp. But do remember, Konami can do whatever it wants whenever it wants, but there is a history of things. So what sealed are you excited for? There's a lot of sealed I actually think is good upcoming, which makes bankroll management hard. Like, I think King's Court will be heavily under-ordered by vendors because they've had enough of risk, yet it's in that Toon Chaos slot, and I've heard a lot of vendors say that people are kind of antsy about this one. So I personally think if you're sitting on something for a long time, remember the reasoning that I gave, that you should be going in versus what you should be doing with your money otherwise. Because think of, okay, you go on an early bird thing, put your money in, you wait 5 months for the product to get to your front door, you wait a whole nother year, you're in a year and a half. What could you have done with like a whole case worth of money, $600? You could have flipped it again, flipped it again, flipped it again, and you could have been active and you could have tripled your money instead of doubled, or wherever you're going. Like, there are ways to do it. That's why it's situational to go at oversealed, but sometimes you're lazy like me also. So if you are shopping any of these, this has been mostly YBM, Yu-Gi-Oh! Black Market, and Gamer's Choice, who's Chow's production. You can use code WhatsGood5 on either site and go in if you are. But those are my thoughts on upcoming sealed products. A lot of really strong third, fourth quarter products versus a really bad start to the year outside of Ghost from the Past itself, and the singles inside not turning out too good as we're seeing right now. Yet the sealed for it is doing very well. Sealed is an interesting beast, and you want to use your big brain head when going in, because that's a lot of money to tie up, and you got to have a gut to not just panic if something dips early or goes down, you have the chance usually to make money with sealed, but you want to be careful about which ones you're going in on. Thanks for watching today's Market Watch. If you enjoyed this longer conversation and my thoughts on upcoming products, like this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already. And what products are you looking forward to most out of everything mentioned here? Am I underselling Lightning Vortex? I personally don't think so, but there are some cool things inside. And I do think the rest of the sets upcoming are very interesting if you have the bankroll for it and you are lazy.